Hello, my name is Basia Sali Hoffman and I warmly welcome you to the program Fine Art. Today, we're in the very center of Wrocław, right next to the market square. Behind me, there is the majestic Dominican church dedicated to Saint Adalbert. Right here, in the heart of the city, the order of preachers, in Latin, Ordo Predicatorum, decided to erect their temple. Here, not even in the medieval times, one could engage in agriculture like the Cistercians, or find tranquility in prayer and solitude, as was the case with contemplative orders. The Dominicans, known as Dominicans, or the Hounds of the Lord. A cute dog we'll see shortly. Well, this order had primarily educational goals. The friars aimed to improve the souls of people entangled in worldly affairs, such as trade, crafts, and power struggles. And that's precisely why they built their churches in city centers, to be close to the faithful. Just like here, in Wrocław, where we are within the confines of the medieval city. So, let's go inside. Dominican churches were spacious to accommodate large congregations for listening to their sermon. The St. Adalbert's Church in Wrocław suffered greatly during the Second World War. The baroque Blessed Ceslaus Chapel is the only part of the church that survived the wartime destruction without major damage, which was soon deemed a miracle. And it's this Blessed Ceslaus of Odrzańsk, the patron of Wrocław, and the chapel dedicated to him that I would like to talk to you about today. The history of the construction of the Blessed Ceslaus Chapel is closely tied to the beatification of its patron. The Wrocław Dominicans wanted to create a worthy place to house the relics of their first prior. The chapel was built between 1711 and 1730. The construction work was led by Master Benedict Miller, based on an unknown architect's project, while the sculptural decoration is the work of Georg Leonhard Weber and Josef Mangold. The convent considered it an honorary duty to establish a worthy sanctuary for Blessed Ceslaus, the monk who founded the Dominican monastery in Wrocław. But Blessed Ceslaus became renowned for something else. In 1241, when the Tatars besieged Wrocław, he single-handedly repelled the attack of the entire army, of course, with the divine help. As reported in his annals, annalist Jan Długosz wrote, Brother Ceslaus, the first prior of the Saint Adalbert monastery in Wrocław, through prayer, with tears lifted to God, repelled the siege. For a while he was in prayer, a fiery pillar descended from the sky over his head and illuminated the whole area and the land of Wrocław with an indescribably blinding light. Under the influence of this extraordinary phenomenon, the hearts of the Tatars were filled with fear and astonished to such an extent that, abandoning the siege, they fled rather than withdrew. The chapel's patron died in the reputation of sanctity on July 15, 1242. The decoration of the antechamber is connected to the mission of the Dominican order, preaching the gospel everywhere, to everyone, and in every way. The Atlants supporting the cornices of the side portals represent the 4 continents, Africa, America, Asia, and Europe, thus symbolizing the entire world known at that time. The motive of personifying the 4 parts of the world was very popular during the Baroque period. It was often used in the monastic iconography to illustrate the missionary calling and the preaching of the gospel worldwide. But let's move on, because this antechamber serves as an entrance to the actual chapel, where the patron of the city is commemorated. Two monumental figures in niches before the chapel represent the pillars of a symbolic gate, a triumphal arch that leads to the relics. Saint Dominic, with a star on his forehead. Well, according to the legend, Saint Dominic was said to have a star above his head. But what is easy to depict in a painting isn't so simple to illustrate in a sculpture. And as a result, here he seems to anticipate Harry Potter by almost 300 years, with a lightning bolt on his forehead. The attribute that identifies him best is the dog that I've promised, holding a flaming torch in its mouth. Domini Canes, House of the Lord. The flames of this torch engulf a sphere, symbolizing the globe. This also refers to evangelical mission of the order. The other pillar is Saint Hyacinth. Together with Blessed Ceslaus, they were founders of the Dominican order in Poland. The decoration of the chapel itself relates to the virtues of its patron. In the altar, there are the theological virtues: faith, hope, and charity, fides, spes, and caritas, and the personification of the Church, ecclesia. Fides, faith, traditionally holds a crucifix in her hands, depicted here as the tree of life. At her feet, a putto figure holds a shell with a flame, the flame of faith that ignited the heart of the chapel's patron. Hope, spes, is also depicted with a traditional attribute, an anchor. This is conceptually linked to a ship, an image of the soul heading for the port of salvation. And just as an anchor prevents a ship from being dashed against the rocks by the wind, hope helps to steadfastly hold on to unshakable faith and reach the port of eternity. Caritas, charity, is depicted as a dignified matron accompanied by 3 children. The 3 children signify that although caritas is a single virtue, it possesses a triple power, because without it, faith, hope are meaningless. In art, Ecclesia's attribute is the papal pontificate attire. In hands, the church holds 2 books and a chalice. The kneeling angel in the central edicule has characteristic attributes. On his knee, he breaks a lunar mask, which is basically a moon with a face on it, while beneath his feet we see a broken sword and 3 fiery spheres, an allusion to Blessed Ceslaus' intercession during the siege of Wroclaw. Therefore, this angel is interpreted as a symbolic representation of victory over the Mongol power, equated with Islam. In a deeper sense, victory can be interpreted as a triumph over the forces of darkness, symbolized by shattered lunar mask with a visible grimace of pain. In the corners of sarcophagus as caryatids, the 4 cardinal virtues: prudence, temperance, fortitude, and justice. Prudentia, prudence, with a mirror and intertwined snakes in her hands. Mirror is a symbol of self-awareness, a trait of wise individuals. The rejuvenation of the snake through shedding its skin is a representation of its readiness to abandon the old self who succumbs to corrupt desires in order to begin a new life. Temperancia, temperance, with a bridle and a jug. Jug was used to quench the fire of passion with water of moderation. It is also referred to diluting strong wine. The bridle, curbing impulsiveness in restraining the passion of the soul and body. Justitia, justice, with a sword and scales, which is a symbol of weighing human souls since ancient times. Fortitudo, fortitude, with a column. The column could allude to the strength of Samson, but also recalls the pillars of Solomon's temple. And what lies here in the corner? A winged monster with 7 heads, symbolically representing 7 deadly sins, of course conquered by blessed Ceslaus. Man symbolizes superbia, pride. Ostrich, avaritia, greed. Woman is luxuria, lust. Dragon is invidia, envy. Monkey, gula, gluttony. Ram, ira, wrath. And donkey is acedia, sloth. On the alabaster sarcophagus, scenes from the life of blessed Ceslaus are carved. My personal favorite is Ceslaus crosses the Oder River on his monastic robe. For some time now, the city has had ideas of launching a water tram in Wroclaw. Until then, the river could be crossed by kayak, water bike, or as it turns out, using one's own outer garment. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, I would love to invite you to the next one.